This is something that has the ability to be a multi-million-dollar business, your multi-million-dollar business for generations to come. And that is not BS. That is absolute reality of this moment, okay? Right? And you guys are starting to understand the whys and why that is a piece of reality. So, treat it like a business, okay? But in a way, treat it like a job, okay? Do you get up every morning and go to your job because you're so inspired? Probably not, okay? But the truth is, you go to your job because it's expected of you, right? One of the bigger challenges in this industry is learning how to employ ourselves, okay? Here's specifically what I mean by that. If you take something away from this particular meeting, of what I mean by that is that if you're not on those Sunday night calls, you're not employing yourself. You are an employee that is failing yourself, okay? If you're not on the proven plan calls or listening to the recorded messages, and by the way, to get permission to do this, we did bring up the fact that we'd be interfering with the proven plan calls at 8 o'clock. It becomes impractical to listen to that at 8 and be here at 9. Okay? Jason said, no problem. Just make sure they understand the expectation of designated time to go back and get that. Okay? Now, if you were smart and you were employing yourself and you were expected to show up to work and do something, right? Wouldn't you have a specific time of the week that becomes your designated time where you have to step in and go, I'm at work right now, and I'm going to listen to these catch-up calls. So if you can't listen on Sunday and you can't listen on it, you've got to listen. You've got to have a specific time of the week that's your time, where you approach it from the mentality of, I'm going to work now, okay? And I'm going to catch those calls that I missed. Because if you don't, what's going to happen?
You get distracted.
Are you going to get them? No. And you don't know which ones of those are those magic pieces of the puzzle that are going to come together for you. I'm going to touch on one last thing, okay? If you're not attending corporate events, you're screwing up. And that's just, you know, I'm point blank. I have plenty of people in my organization. And I've got some really, really talented people that I've just had this conversation with. And I told them right in their face, okay? I don't care who you are. You're not going to succeed. You're not. Okay? You're not going to succeed if you're not at corporate events. Okay? And the fact that one is maybe not as quality as you would have hoped, you know what?
Might be for somebody else.
To the brand new person who doesn't know any better, they might have just thought that they just saw the coolest meeting they've ever seen. Okay? But if you're not at the one, or if you use the one that wasn't maybe so good as an excuse to not go to the other one, you don't know what the next one's going to be.
Right.
I have people in my team who did that. And you know what they missed? They missed Seth Campbell. Was anybody at Seth Campbell?
That's awesome.
Okay? I'm telling you straight up, guys, okay? I didn't know what to expect from Seth Campbell. Do we always have that little bit of a feeling when we're putting our credibility on the line and trying to get a guest? Ed, was it effective for you?
Yeah, it could be.
What, guys, there's a lesson right here, okay? What was your mentality before you went to that meeting versus your mentality after you? Because Ed joined, if I'm not, don't let me put words in your mouth, but you joined as a result of that particular premier school.
I was already on the way, I think, to
Okay.
it because Jim has a lot of credibility with me. And, you know, Jim and I and another person drove up there. My expectation was to get a bigger picture of what the organization was all about because, you know, Jim was the entire organization to me except for the call I had to Jan.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and that was it. And we got there and Seth was very impressive. I liked him a lot.
Mm-hmm. But it did transition, did it not? Because I saw a gleam in your eye at the end of that thing.
Oh yeah, I was ready to rock and roll.
Okay. All right. So can you guys get it? Patient introduction, all with them in mind, and it's all for the specific purpose of getting them to a meeting. Okay? Because the meeting is where people actually are supposed to be learning about the process. Jim just had the wisdom and the dedication to motivate Ed to drive from Modesto, okay, to, and then some of us are complaining. Okay? That's crazy. That's crazy. All right? All the way to get to premier school. And I promise, even though Ed's kind of low-key right now, he's an operations guy, what do you expect, okay? I'm telling you, this guy was lit up. He had a gleam in his eye at the end of that. And Jim didn't do it. Jim had the credibility that it would follow him, but Jim didn't do the teaching, Seth did.